Right, like the title card won't give away my feelings on the character. Though given Maud Pie's only real episode is the one bearing her name, I guess you could also consider this me going on about the episode as well as the character, as there are some things I want to point out in it. Maud Pie is the older sister of Pinkie Pie, though we don't know if she is the eldest or not, as Pinkie still has two sisters, Marble and Limestone. At the start of Maud Pie, we learn that she's trained to be Dr. Maud Pie, and what I assume is just a more specialized version of a PhD in geology. And she even discovered a new type of edible rock for their rock candy that, while secret, Maud was able to ship massive quantities of to Ponyville to make that many pieces of rock candy. Since Pinkie was the one that made the rock candy, the special edible rocks had to have come from home, presumably by train, which is revealed to run right by where Pinkie's from, which looks like a very different place from the rest of Equestria. Huh. And on that note, it is said at the end of the episode that Maud Pie doesn't like candy, but she did discover the rock, so it stands to reason that the Pie family rock candy recipe is hers, becoming a family recipe once she made it. I'm curious about how she discovered an edible, and possibly sweet rock that gave her the idea to turn it into candy. If she doesn't like it, then she made the recipe and kept on making them just because her little sister had a sweet tooth and loved them. And that's really, well, sweet. And a bit funny when you think about it. You like this candy, so I'm shipping the ingredients to you by the crate load via train. Hope you have enough room in your house. The fiery Joker has said that Pinkie Pie and Maud, while different in how they contrast, are similar in how they live in their own worlds. But I'm gonna go one further on the point that Maud Pie is much more like Pinkie than most realize. The both of them can take things quite literally when you speak to them, and many of Maud's lines are pretty much Pinkie Pie lines lacking emotion and maybe a word or two.
What do you think, Maud?
It tastes like apples.
Whoa! How'd you do that?
I threw it.
Honestly, that sounds like a Pinkie Pie response. Like, Pinkie, how'd you get here? I walked, silly. And if you asked Maud how the water was when she was swimming, she'd say, it's wet.
Coming in, Dashy! The water's great! It's totally wet and everything!
Pinkie Pie will talk about random things that'll catch people off guard. Unless you've gotten used to Pinkie, that is. And she tends to take your words too literally. Both Pinkie and Maud are very bizarre characters whose relation definitely shows in their actions as well. We're just more used to Pinkie Pie, and Maud's antics are more jarring in how serious and straight-laced she is while doing them. If this is how Maud and Pinkie are, I can't wait to see how strange the other siblings can be. In fact, if they were all around the same size in flashbacks, with Maud being older and Pinkie Pie being younger, is Pinkie the youngest? Or are Marble and Limestone older than Maud, also making Maud a little sister to them? Or perhaps those two are younger than Pinkie, making her an older sister? Either way, I'm hoping for them to be fraternal twins, given how they all seem to be around the same size and age. And shifting the focus off of Pinkie and her family for a minute, I would like to talk about one little bit of the show, since I did say at the start that I may as well talk about some things I noticed in the episode as a whole. During the scene where the main six confront Pinkie Pie about them being uncomfortable with the Pie family rock candy necklace tradition, when none of them were able to form any kind of meaningful bond with Maud. Pay close attention to Rainbow Dash. She's further away than the others, partially hiding her face behind the mailbox and unable to say anything while the others speak, save for a mumbled agreement once they all speak at once. Rainbow looks like she's taking this much worse than the others, doesn't she? I can see it being a callback to her element and being one of the ponies closest to Pinkie out of the main six. Rainbow wants to be there for her friend, but try as she might, she just isn't able to make a connection with Maud, and she looks like she feels horrible about it. Just something I noticed and felt like bringing up. And of course, if this is a Maud Pie video, we have to talk about that scene. You all know which one.
Whoa! 'Cause I can't see anything. 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 'Cause I can't see any
Be Still My Beating Heart. I adore physically strong female characters. Always have. And I've always had this little headcanon about ponies on rock farms, mining or harvesting big rocks by kicking them barehoofed to shatter them into smaller rocks. My jaw dropped when I saw this actually happen in the show, even if we did get foreshadowing from the tactical rock nuke earlier. What can be said about this scene that hasn't been said? Maud tears through the giant boulder like it was styrofoam, and she's incredibly fast to boot. Though as Pinky said, Maud's not as fast as me. But we've seen Pinky move incredibly fast, so Maud seems like she can outpace anyone else on land even if she is slower than her sister. That makes me wonder if the rest of Pinky's sisters, who had spent more of their time on the rock farm, are near Maud's level of strength, or even Pinky's father and mother. The episode Maud Pie just makes me want to know even more about Pinky's family. I really do hope they show up again in the show or in the comics. So that's about it. I love Maud as a character, from the way she acts, to her deadpan expression in the lines, as well as her design. I love that frock she wears, and I do find it interesting that she does seem to care for her appearance, as she's one of the few characters aside from Rarity that wears makeup. Also, did anyone else get the name Maud Pie, as in mud pie? Ah, puns. Speaking of, anyone else here love Maud's poetry?
Rock. You are a rock. Gray. You are gray. Like a rock. Which you are. Rock. I've written thousands.
That is my favorite Maud line in the show so far. Both poems were rather good, and I was surprised to hear a haiku about rocks. And before you ask, yes, it's a haiku. Not all haikus are constrained by the 575 syllable count. And the second poem I wanted to hear more of, Sediments Make Me Sedimental. Puns! I hope we get to see Dr. Maud Pie sometime soon. This is the Ponder Pony saying my piece.